Yeah. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest.
That's why I hate when people say that freestyle sucks, freestyle is shit, freestyle is for... It's BS.
Overnight, you ain't behind the scenes, trust me, these things don't just happen. No shade to Gerald, but G's don't come easy when you tryna eat out producing and rapping. I read that contract you sent me to sign, but excuse me, I can't help myself, I'm just laughing. Hey, you tryna cut out a piece of my pie, and I asked you politely, what's it that you offer me, yeah. I produce all my own beats, and I have no intention of losing my publisher, yeah. Independent individual, boy, I've been eating off passive residuals, yeah. Let's be professional, thanks for your time, but I had to decline at that principle.
Yo, what's up? My name is Daniel Laizans and welcome to the Calisthenics Show, where I interview calisthenic and street workout athletes all over the world. You will get to know more about their history, how they work out, and the story behind their success. And today we have a legend that I call the Calisthenics Rockstar that you might already know, Daniels Laizans. And before we move on, hit that like button and also make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more interviews like this one. So buckle up, get your popcorn, and let's get started.
I've been scheming up a plan, hey. I've been saving all I can, hey. You could call me David Ramsey, the way I handle these bands, hey. We ain't messing with the old model, new era, new kid, we full throttle, just know that the come up is not a fluke. My amigos, they focus, know what to do. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. After I get it, I reinvest. Stack and put it back in it.
Alright, man. Happy to have you here. It's Daniels Laizans, the world champion.
Guys, what's up? Nice seeing you all here today as well. Haven't done much interviews, so thank you for the opportunity, bro.
I'm happy that you could do this interview with me. I've had some successful interviews with the other athletes. I've got so many requests to do an interview with you, like Daniels Laizans, Daniels Laizans. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. All right, it's time.
Finally, we're here today, man.
Today we're gonna know more about you, who you are, your journey towards becoming the Calisthenics Rockstar that I call you.
Yeah.
Because you're like one of the most famous and also become an icon in the calisthenic world, like community, and many people look up to you when it comes to like the performance, how to train, do everything. Let's just jump into the interview right away and not waste any time, because I know you guys, you just want to know everything about Daniels Laizans. And the first thing I need to ask, why is it an S in Latvia after every name?
It's just what it is, you know. It comes with the culture, you know. It's an international name, you know. I prefer if people call me Daniel, but when it comes to locals, as people call me here, as to my official name, you just add the S, you know. It's the same for I explained this to, for example, Dan Rosenberg, you know, like if he would be a local here, right, in Latvia, he would be called simply not Dan but Duns. So you just add the S, which is like it sounds Latvian.
That's really special, because like adding an S to all the names. I know Paul's also like.
Yeah, exactly. It's so many words, and it's just what it is, you know. There's a slight confusion because people they used to spell my name with S, even with a Z, you know, because they're not really sure about that, you know. But I prefer just Daniel, you know, the international version.
Yeah, because the first time when I saw Daniels, I was like, okay, did he add the S just to add it? Or because my name is also Daniel, for those who don't know. I was like, is it on purpose? Did he choose that? Like, but now I know, it's just the culture in Latvia. How old are you and where are you from?
I'm 20 years old. I turned 20 in March this year, so not really a long time ago. I'm from Riga, Latvia. I've been born and raised here. Been living here for the whole 20 years.
Man, you're young. We're gonna go deep when you started calisthenics, because you're only 20. Like, I'm 25 and I started when I was 21. You have already accomplished a lot in the sport as a 20-year-old. But we're gonna go deep into those questions. How tall are you and what is your weight today?
This is going to be actually surprising. I've already touched up on this. My height is around 184 centimeters, and my weight has dropped. I used to be around 80 kg, you know, one of the heaviest freestyle athletes, you know, at the top level. at least. And then right now, I was in Germany like 2 days back. We were shooting a VF Borders project. I didn't step on it. It was a time that I stepped on a scale, you know, for a while. So right now I'm a little over 70 kg. I've dropped a lot of weight, more than 10 kilos during the past year.
Is it on purpose?
I would say yes and no. Lately, definitely not really, but before, when I was like at my max weight, which is like 83 kg, some time back, yeah, it was definitely on purpose, because I was like, this is definitely too much, you know. I have to, like, my goal was to cut back to like 75 or something, you know, for freestyle, because you can really feel that, you know. Also now it's just a different game, you know, being at 70 kg or something, and just like flying around the bars, you know. I can really even feel it in statics. Yeah, so I started kind of this thing on purpose, you know, just with like intermittent fasting and all that kind of things, and just like wanted to, you know, just living like constantly in a calorie deficit, you know, not eating too much. And that's how I just got used to not eating often. And right now I usually wake up and I skip breakfast. I only eat, let's say during the day, which is lunch, or sometimes even dinner, you know. I got used to, like, I feel even better if I don't eat a lot, you know. So
Do you feel still like you can perform like with the strength wise at the same level, like even if you eat less?
yeah, that's the thing. As I said, I got used to it, and now it even seems to be working better for me. You know, if it's before training, I always choose maybe not to eat, you know. But I also don't recommend taking my advice, maybe. And it's not really an advice; it's just what works for me, because I'm not really a specialist in that. And it's just you know what it is. I just focus on my trainings. You know, I don't really worry about like, why do I feel this way? For example, if I don't feel the best way before training, I'm just more like, I focus on the training. How can I get the best out of it, and what safety precautions I can take to not get injured.
It's good that you say that it's not an advice, because too many people take everything, like they just want to copy directly, and not everything works for everybody.
Exactly, you know.
But interesting. So I'm 80 kilos, and I can just imagine, like, if I just dropped 3 kilos, 5 kilos, like I would feel light. When did you start with calisthenics, and why did you start with calisthenics?
All right, so it goes all the way back to around 2013, if I'm not mistaken. It started when I was like 12/13. If we go even way more back to like 2008, I used to do gymnastics for 2 years, which is like, so I have like a little bit, like, this is many people doesn't know that, but yeah, I have a little bit of a gymnastic background. I did it for 2 years since I was 6 to 8 years old. So
I didn't know that.
as to why I started, one of the main reasons was like the inspiration I got was we had this talent show going on back in the day, and they were just a group of these street workout athletes, and they were all just you know, doing these giants on the bars, you know, all these spinning on the bar things, which is like the old school, you know, the real old school. A couple of human flags every now and there, maybe a back lever, you know, with some extra weight, like people hanging, you know, from the neck or something like that. This is the real old school stuff. So this is what really got me into it. We had a website, and I just looked up like all of those training places around the country, because they had it, you know, like on the website. So
oh, they already had a website back then.
Yeah.
Even in Sweden, we don't have that. Like, you have this calisthenicparks.com. You can see parks, but nothing like you found back then. You started 2012, 2013, you started really calisthenics. And when you were 6 to 8, that was a bit of gymnastic. Do you think that helped you later on?
Yeah, honestly, I think that yes, because you know, when I started out with the street workout trainings, with the group workouts, I had this core strength a lot stronger than maybe other people, you know. All these, for example, else it was like really my strong point, you know. So gymnastics really gave me the conditioning, you know. Even like I could do like 10 something, 12 pull-ups, you know, before I even like started with calisthenics, you know. So like I used to do these things even after gymnastics. Like, it was always fun for me to just, you know, do these things, maybe do a couple of pull-ups like at school or something like that, you know. So like pull-ups was just like something, my strong point in life as a kid, you know.
This is, my theory is always, like, I tell people, some people like wants everything in 2 years, like they want to be the best, become the best in 2 years. They don't think about the journey, how long it took for some people to get to the point where they are today. Hearing you say, like, you started 6 to 8, you did 2 years there, and then you waited sometimes, and then you started 2012, and then from there 8, like, it's a long time. It's like more than half of your life.
Yeah, man. It's like you never know, and like the important moment here is that like when I started with calisthenics, this whole thing, you know, I never thought of, you know, becoming something in the sport or something. It was just something or anything, you know. I was trying to find something that I liked to do, you know. And back then it was these two things that I was just only discovering as a teenager, like being 12 or something, was filmmaking, just making videos, you know. Filmmaking sounds so professional, you know, just making videos, putting something together, and street workout, you know. So like just was trying to like fill my time with that, and I got here, man, you know.
That's sick. Imagine yourself when you're like 12, yeah, 12. Somebody said, yeah, you're gonna be one of the most famous calisthenic athletes in like a couple of years.
No, like at that time, like of course, like you would never have thought about that, you know. And with that's the thing that got me so far, because if you start off with this mindset, you know, it's like it's harder for you to go through the process, because you go through the process thinking about like the end result, you know. But for me, I just like to do it, you know. I just wake up and that's what I like to do, you know. I had some friends over there, you know. At school, it was just always like I mean, it was just that like my friends came more from street workout, and then those friends always, they had like these different friends. But for me, you know, that was like the only thing that I had, you know, this community street workout, you know. So it was just for me there every day.
It's inspiring to hear how the journey is and the thoughts, because I'm trying to be transparent with the people that are listening, even on my channel. I say like it doesn't take 1 month, 1 year. It takes time. Of course, some people can reach levels fast, but it takes years to become the best, like to develop, to become complete.
That's the thing. If you just like it, it's gonna be easier for you to do it, you know. And that's the case for me. Never thought about. I never had this goal. Oh yeah, I'm gonna, for example, get this full planche and then like do it at this competition. Get this full planche to be able to beat this, or you know. I just did it because like I just wanted to, you know, the feeling of being able to hold that move, you know. The feeling of moving from straddle to planche, you know, this progress, it was just what was like motivating for me.
It's good because it's starting with a passion and not the goal to become the best or something. Start with a passion.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Who was your inspiration when you started, and why?
Okay, so there were you can divide it like into two parts. One is the more like, I would say probably bar stars community, like overseas, you know. Also like Chris Herias, since he was like part of bar stars back in the day, you know, because they were like they were the first ones to really, in my opinion, of course, the first ones that I saw putting really out content that got to the eyes of really a lot of people, you know, a lot of people in the world. Their videos went viral, so you know, that's like one thing that inspired me. Like Hannibal for King bar stars, you know, doing muscle ups, strength sets, stuff like that. Chris Heria with his dynamic, explosive muscle ups, you know, muscle up and jump up, like that seemed like what I want to do at that time. And then the other parts were like where I got like more into the sport already, and then like my inspirations really became a couple of like Russian athletes that did statics way back in the day. Like I also like watched the interview with Eric. He mentioned that Dmitry Kuznetsov was like one of his inspirations. So like for me, it's the same. This guy, then Nick Anisimov is definitely worth mentioning. A bunch of like other names maybe that I'm not gonna, like I can't really get back into mind, but there's a couple of these people, these Americans and Russians. I would say they had just these two different styles. So like both of those styles influenced me, and like.
And we can see that when you are performing, that it's a mix of the cleanness and the creativity, because bar stars and those were like the creative part, and the Russians, they are like clean. You should be clean in everything. I need to interview Dmitry, because all of the people that interview, Eric, Victor, Melnik, all have mentioned the same name.
It's really, you can't avoid that, because at that time there weren't many people in the world that got to such level as those guys, you know. So for me, during the nighttime, this was my inspiration, and then during the day, it's like a completely different vibe. But like, you know, like the bar star side of athletes and stuff, like the bar family, like we're going those more maybe dynamic workouts and like having fun and like freestyle. And then when you're at home, you're watching, you know, those other athletes and getting your inspiration from that.
Was the sport big in Latvia when you started?
It was definitely not big, but I think I can safely say it was maybe bigger than anywhere else in the world. It definitely didn't start in Latvia. Like, I'm not really sure. Like I don't want to claim like that this was the history of calisthenics. I don't know where it started and like things like that. But I know that like like Latvia was one of those countries. You know, we had like first 3 world championships. They were not official, but at that time, like we had these 3 world championships, and they were held in Latvia. You know, so like kind of comes in some way from here. You know, because we had also a bunch of strong athletes, and like we have the federation, like the world federation is like based here in Latvia, you know, so like there's credibility for like, you know, for Latvia if they talk about this sport. But like back then, yeah, it was like America, Latvia, and like some other places where it really just like, you know, was like just getting bigger and bigger.
Building the road for calisthenics, I would say. Do you think that you had a big impact in Latvia to make it even bigger because of you got recognized, you got bigger on social media?
Definitely later on, of course. I won my first national back in 2014. The Latvian community really only got like bigger transitioning from like 2017 to 2018. That's when it only really got like very big with the locals, you know, like never that big, you know. We had like, there was never any competition really that much for me or even for Paul's, you know. It was just like going every year, securing our place, like this place, you know. And then now like the past 2 years, yeah, it's like crazy. Okay, like we had to work out, you know.
It's super cool because I've been following you for years, and I've seen you from that indoor gym until you were in the world champion. You built your own bar. You had bars before in your garden, but the new setup. So it's been fun to watch you grow in the sport, and also as a person, how you develop in the skills and what you choose to focus on. So hearing the backstory of everything, I think not only me but for the people listening, this is really a good inspiration for them.
Yeah, I hope so.
When did you start to get recognized around the world? Do you remember what the reason was?
Yeah, definitely. The reason for the recognition was probably the competitions, I would say, because the competitions was something that really like put you in the spotlight, you know. For example, if let's say like you get into the top 3, or, you know, like for example, world champion, I was climbing this ladder. So for people that doesn't know, 2015 I got 3rd place, 2016 I got the 2nd place, 2017 guess what, I got the 1st place, you know. So like I was climbing this ladder, and like every year like I was competing in the world championship. 2015, which is the year that I was like 3rd in the world champ, that's when I was 1st in the World Cup super final. So these were at the time like one of the biggest events like happening. How it is in my head, like how it worked back then, it was just like, okay, I realized that this is going to give me some sort of recognition. Let's say I remember becoming like in the 3rd place in the world champ in 2015. I got like 2K IG followers in like one day or something like that. Like, and then I had like 7,000 in total. I remember, yeah, I made a post at the end of 2015, and I think it was, yeah, thank you for like 8K followers on Instagram, which, yeah, by the time I was like top 3 in the world. So like that's when I got the recognition, and in my head it was just like, okay, this is gonna like put me in the spotlight, you know, like this is how my name is gonna pop up to people. So I have to make them want to stay on my page, you know, like I have to make them be interested in, you know, like what I do, how I do it. So like that was the thing for me, just keep making the content, get the recognition, and get those people to stay, and that's how you build the fan base, you know.
And I think you are one of the few people that really saw the opportunity of when the booming of calisthenics, like when you grow from 2015 and like 2017, it was like calisthenics was all over the world. Like every video with calisthenics just went viral. And on IG, on YouTube, you know, Barsos, everything. And I think you are one of the few that really put the time to make the content and make good content as well. Like I have a video in print, I will show it here. It's when you do it in a gym, when you do a crazy V-sit to like wide V-sit, and you go to planche and everything.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, in the gym it's dark, you have some lights. I remember that video, I was like, damn, this is crazy good with the music and everything. I got so hyped.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah.
That's also a good way, like not everybody will get know that and don't take the opportunity like you did. So because I see too many people complaining, why do I not grow, why do I not get recognized? Because you don't put the time to show people what you have or inspire them or whatever.
Yeah, man, like when it comes to like I've always kind of just tried to like perfect my craft until I make it like go live or whatever, you know. So that's why it like sometimes keeps like my consistency away or something. You know, I'm still trying to find balance for everything. I had this passion for filmmaking, so I was like I know that like this is something that can make me stand out, you know. And it wasn't that like okay, I was doing it on purpose, that like I was trying to make the quality better to get more recognition. It was just like no, it was just like I'm wondering what's gonna come out if I put these things together, you know, like filmmaking, videography, and that was just my life, you know.
It's good that you did, because now you get recognized, you have built your fan base, you build the sport as well, if I may say so. How has calisthenics changed your life? And if you did not start with calisthenics, what do you think you would do today?
I would say I would be making videos, that's for sure. I told you like there was just these two things, like working out and making videos. So I think that's for sure. And then if it wasn't street workout, I guess it would be any other of like the extreme like street sports, like that has this that like comes from the street, you know, because it's even hard to turn like this transition from like street workout and calisthenics becoming like a very professional sport, you know, almost getting into the Olympics. And like there's like this big difference, you know, because like I feel like this sport is like it should stay like as a street sport, you know. So I say like just like because I like the lifestyle and, you know, just the style and like the image of the street sport. I guess I'd be, if it wasn't this, I'd be maybe it's like skating, like rollerblading, breakdancing, you know, whatever goes into that section.
I think I understand what you're meaning, like being on the creative side where there's not set up rules of how everything should be done. Gymnastic is like, okay, you need to do this to this, and you can't be yourself.
Yeah, so like you take like the sports part, for example, let's say gymnastics, if you can say that, and then just if you can express it like in your own self, in your own style, you know, that's dope in my opinion about calisthenics.
You have a kid named Demians. How do you pronounce that?
Damien would be international. Yeah.
Damian. You kept this a secret for a while. Was it any specific reason why?
Yeah, there was. Just simply because we were both, you know, me and the mother of the kid, we were both in school. We just didn't want like to come out with that like on social media or anything, because like the local people, like a lot of people knew already, but for like back then it was just like we didn't want to like really officially like come out with it, because yeah, as I told, like it was more about like her decision. Yeah, she just didn't want like, you know, like me neither, like we didn't want like people talking unnecessary about that, because, you know, at that age it's just like, especially if you're, you know, in a huge school, you know, with a lot of kids, you know, everybody's going to be talking about that, you know. And even the teachers at the school had like negative like comments about that, and it was just like, it wasn't like, you know, the best. So we kind of like try to keep it in as a secret until we both like got out of school and stuff like that, and then we were just like more on our own. We didn't have to like face with these people on a daily basis, so we're just like, yeah, no, we don't care, you know.
I think you made a good decision. Like really, you made a good decision, because instead of getting the attention towards that, you just did you and you all. I think you like you said, you already have the attention locally, and getting the attention worldwide, like it would be just unnecessary.
I just used it for myself as a motivation, and I knew that like, okay, like this is even going to be a bigger surprise day by day, you know, if I announce it later. So like, yeah, I just didn't really think about it too much, and I just kind of like, I had to respect like it was her decision. So like,
how was it to raise a kid at a young age?
I'm really grateful to people like my parents that like was there around to help me. I'm really grateful. The mother of Damian raised such a good boy. He's 5 years old now, and it's just amazing. You should see him grow. So like, yeah, it was definitely a huge help that like we got. Yeah, I mean, it was like the thing I can mention, it was like maybe emotionally hard, you know, because like when you're at that age, you know, a teenager or something, like 14, 15, which is like 15 is like, I was 15 when he was born. It's just like at that time, it's like for you, it's one of like the worst nightmares that could happen to you is like, you know, like at that time, you know, because you've heard some of the stories that has happened to like other people at that age, but when it actually happens to you, it's crazy. It's like at that time, it's one of the craziest things that can happen for you. The lifestyle for me like didn't switch up that much because like I wasn't the type of like kid to like go out that much with friends or like go to parties like later on, you know. It was just like for me, I was always just focused on my stuff, you know, like calisthenics, like making videos, you know, and like it didn't change for much later. I was going out and going to trainings, you know, or whatever, like making content, then just going back home, you know, spending the time with my kid, you know, waking up during the nights, everything that comes along with that. So no, it was challenging, but like if you get used to it and like you just have to adapt to it, you just use it as a motivation. Right now, like I'm so glad that it like actually happened, and I'm definitely super happy about it.
Well, like I have friends that got kids, and when they get a kid, it's just a feeling that you can't describe.
Yeah, it literally is like that's what I'm saying, like, and I can't give you like too much of a good explanation because like you just have to like it just happens like that, you know. You have to adapt to like a new life, and I don't also want to make it like too much of a like big deal because like I told you, like we got some help. The mother of Damian was like the one that really put in most of the work for that, you know. So
it's the same story from every new dad. Like it's a feeling that you can't describe. How did you manage to raise him and at the same time become the world champion and follow your dreams? Because that's like I can't understand. You lived, you trained, and you raised the kid at the same time and still managed to become the world champion.
If I wasn't given this chance, you know, to be able to do what I want while raising a kid, you know, it wouldn't be like that. If we wouldn't have this help with like providing and stuff like that, it would definitely be a lot harder. Like I would have to change my lifestyle, you know, go get a job. The circumstances that we had was allowed me to keep going. And, you know, at that time, the mentality for me was just to keep going so that like I can provide even more later. So
like it's good to have support from family. Not many families support those decisions, but it's good that you got that. Let's talk about your tattoos. You have a couple of tattoos. You have 2 on your neck. What are those on your neck?
On the right side, there's just a rose on my neck, which I got tattooed. It was the first neck tattoo. I got it. I was about to turn 19. At that time, it was a huge motivation to get like a neck tattoo for me. Just, you know, to stick to really what I'm doing. Yeah, it's like a rose because, you know, like you couldn't really go wrong with that. And since like the style of tattoos that I like is realism, you know, I wouldn't get a rose on my neck if I wouldn't be planning to get covered in realism tattoos, you know. The other side here, I have the latest one. It's like a skull head mixed, like half skull head scarf, like human face, female. So it's like kind of symbolizing life and death in one, you know. It's more like a personal meaning. Yeah, that's like kind of meaningful to me. And then here on my arm, I'm not really sure how to show it the best. I have the portrait of my son and like kind of like a guardian angel protecting him with his hands right here. And then here, this is a Dragon Ball Z inspired fist bump between me and the son. And these are the kid Jordans that I got for my son. So this is like kind of this half sleeve is dedicated more or less to my son. So this is kind of a meaningful thing to me.
I remember when you showed it here in Sweden. It looked really good.
That's the thing for me. It's like I think it's really worth it to pay and plan your tattoos and pay for them. You know, get to a good artist because like I really treat it as like something very special. You know, I don't consider you have to get a meaning for every single tattoo. I don't think that at all.
You're going for the Chris Heria style with he also has a neck tattoo, right?
Yeah, I mean, you probably said that because like he has the most following and he's tattoos. Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to get my neck done. I'm already working on my other arm. Yeah, it's not the best time to get tattoos in the current situation that's going on in the world. But yeah, definitely I'm getting back to it. And I have already, this is a little sneak peek. I have already planned a session super soon. Working on my neck is going to be a lettering here around my chin.
Oh, nice. I can't wait to see that.
On my ink, I'm always working on that.
You are the Calisthenics Rockstar, one of the most known athletes worldwide. Does this put a lot of pressure on you?
Yeah, it does. It definitely does because I think anyone that has to keep up with some sort of an image in the world, definitely it puts a lot of pressure on that person.
Because I can just imagine like having the eyes that you have. I don't have that following that you have, but I can just imagine the pressure on the competitions, especially.
Yeah, the competitions as well. This is what I keep saying. It's hard for me to just go to a competition for fun, or because like there's always going to be people expecting me at my, let's say, best performance, or expecting just whatever. And yeah, it's hard to like match it sometimes.
But I understand because we don't we are not at our best all the time. But I can imagine you going to a competition, everybody sees that, okay, now it's gonna be crazy, and maybe you are not at that craziest level that you wish, because you have had times like everybody's life, it's up and down.
Yeah, it's life, man.
How do you manage the pressure of social media? Because so many are expecting content. They want to see more, do this, do that. How do you manage that?
Yeah, you have to like balance it out. For example, like I stopped using social media for like personal life and stuff like that, which is like also the reason why I'm like less active. I share less of my life on social media, because like I don't associate like my social media with my private life that much. So like I'm really trying to treat it more like a business tool, rather than like a place where you share your life. That's how I kind of trying to like stay out of all the drama of the social media. And
I have seen a lot of copycats of your style where they dress exactly like you, color their hair, saves it long. How do you react to that when you see those people both on social media but also in real life?
There's a line somewhere in between getting inspired from somebody and then trying to build following a career based off of somebody else's style and image. So it's like you should not do that, and you don't want to do that, because like this is what I told to people that copy me. This is something that I can I feel like I can mention any day. It's something that I can I have to mention in some way. But then if those people decide to come back at me, like there's something that they don't understand about it, and that's what I told one of these people, that like if you really want to like be something in the sport, get to something, get to be like remembered. And if you have such passion for the sport, you don't want to do that, because like it's what I said, like whenever they see you at the competition or whatever, they see you like on social media, whatever, when you pop up in those people's eyes, it's just like they're gonna think of me, not of you. They're gonna think of like, okay, this person is just a shittier level, this person is just a watered down version of somebody that's at the top. It's just how it is, because there's like people not only in the sport, even outside of the sport, that are my supporters, and they're sending me these accounts, and they're like, look at that, look at this. So these people don't understand that like people are actually making fun of them. If then after that you somehow get offended by that, you want to follow me on social media, you decide to like come at me or whatever, it's just have to like understand how it truly is and why am I saying like all that stuff. It's not that it bothers me. It sucks, but not for me, for them.
Your latest post that you posted, you ain't your own man boy, you're just my biggest fanboy. I can just imagine that it is related to those stuff.
Yeah, of course it is. I said if like I have the rights to mention it, but you cannot really get offended when I mention that, because it is what it is, So like I got my sources of inspiration. I wouldn't steal something from an athlete that's in the same sport. Like if I ever want to be somebody, like I can't be the same, like it just doesn't work that way. It's hard to put it in the right words, but I'm pretty sure that people can get the message.
Be your own person. Like you can get inspired, you can take bits of somebody, but don't copy paste.
Exactly. And it's just like people never going to take you seriously, if you're going to do that. But if you want to be taken serious, you have to be your own man. Simple as that.
Have you ever wished that you never got famous?
I would probably say yes, but not really, because whenever I wish for that, it's like I wish for that, but like not really. I probably wish it was easier. Then like if you think about it, it's just like all the work that I've put in, when I just look back, it's just like, okay, I've done so much to be where I am today, that I'm grateful for the chance that just I can start building from this point, that I've got to, by putting in all that work, so it's just like.
What is the best memory you have so far from calisthenics?
Shit, it's hard to say, as if it would be like a single moment or something, but definitely it's gonna be probably the traveling and like getting to meet these new athletes. Some of the people that I've met through this journey, they're one of the most important and one of my people in my life, one of the best friends. They're still here day, you know. So if it wasn't through calisthenics, that's what I like about it.
The friendship that you build through the sport.
Yeah, the connections, exactly. That's the thing, like what kept me like working out, because like the company was just like so nice and the people were so supportive, you know, that you just like go with the flow and you just keep doing it because it's positive and it's nice, you know. So same goes with traveling, you know. It was about like this quote, one bar, one love, you know. It was all that. It was dope.
When I started with calisthenics, it was 4 years ago or something. I was so amazed about the community that even in competitions, even if you're competing against somebody, you're cheering them up. You're like, come on, do your best. You're not trying to put anybody down. You're just cheering, because if they put their best, you will do your best as well.
You want to do your best because you say that somebody else is doing their best, not because you want to be better than them, but because like, wow, like, you know, like that just motivates you to like also do your best. That's like how it naturally works.
Before calisthenics, did you have any other dreams or something you wanted to become?
Not that specifically. I always had this, like, I was inspired by a lot of like performers, like in general, you know, by people on the stage, by very one of a kind characters, you know. I was inspired by being on the stage, by just being recognized. That's probably like I had this motivation to like be somebody, you know. It was actually my motivation since I was a kid. I was a fan of like, you know, people that like different in some way, like on the stage, like really as something that you can look up to. Like I wanted to be like that person that like has his own like image and, you know, and like can inspire people. So like I didn't realize back in the day, but like I always had this feeling, you know, and now I understand that this feeling was probably that.
I can relate, because one of my biggest inspirations was like Muhammad Ali, and the way he acted on stage, how the charisma, I was like, I want to be like him.
It's about the charisma, bro. Exactly. This is that one word I was searching for. The charisma of those people that whatever I was a fan of, it always got me. It was always, you want to build a legacy just that you're going to carry on. Yeah, you don't understand it as a kid, but like in some way, just the feeling that you have inside it affects you like later, you know.
For me, it was like the feeling of people seeing me and enjoying who I am, and I was like, I want that. Do you like any other sport than calisthenics?
Yeah, I told you, like I could spend like a day watching any other street sport, you know. Yeah, I like the style of that. I mean, yeah, other than that, like I can tell you what I don't like how people are gonna hate me for that. I don't enjoy basketball too much. Nah, like it's one of like, you know, the biggest sports. Like you know, I would definitely like choose like football or soccer over like basketball. Yeah, it's like I'm not interested to play and I'm not interested to watch it. Oh, another thing I can mention is that I'm a fan of hockey. I'm still until this day I could just turn on and like watch an NHL game. It would be a blast, and like I hope to go to an NHL game like later on this year.
In Sweden, we have a lot of hockey. Like the sport here is really big.
For sure, I have like all these like the World Championships of hockey, like Latvia versus Sweden. There was always a big battle that like Latvians were trying to get. You know, like I was always into that. Like as a kid, growing up in Latvia, it was hockey was like definitely a big like thing. You know.
That's cool to hear. Really cool. You are known for your edits on YouTube and Instagram. How did you learn to film and edit?
Probably by watching tutorials on YouTube. Yeah, I can safely say I've never been to a film school. I've never got like a teacher or a person to teach me all of this stuff. I'm self-taught in calisthenics and in filmmaking and photography. If you're just literally passionate about it, you want to learn it, you YouTube search it, you know, and then you take the time to go through those tutorials, listen to like every single thing, fail a lot of times to fucking get that, to understand that program or that, you know, how it works. So like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I know it's like, it might be the same for like a lot of people, this like, because this option to like learn it on your own, like it's always going to be there. You can literally YouTube search anything and just take the time to watch it. And if you really want to learn it, you're going to learn it. So yeah, that's what was like for me, you know. I was watching a ton of YouTube, like, you know, I was watching a ton of filmmaking videos, and when I go out, I wanted to create a video. I already knew what type of video I want to create. Like, it was all in my head already, you know. So that all comes probably from just watching a ton of work that inspires you, which I think is like a big part.
I can relate with the YouTube stuff. I think I've watched so many tutorials, sit down, just watching after like everything I want to learn. I just go to YouTube. And sometimes it's hard because you can't just watch one video. You need to watch 5 sometimes to understand, because somebody is explaining a different way and so on. And what program are you editing with?
Adobe Premiere Pro. Some specific effects sometimes are done in After Effects. I'm not the pro at After Effects in by any means, but yeah, there's some things that I do in After Effects sometimes. Lightroom when it comes to photos. That's really it.
Another question that so many are asking is, will you ever do tutorials?
So here's the thing, we're very deep into the process of creating the WCF workout app, which is gonna come out in around 2 months. We're gonna have many different routines up in the app. We're gonna have my own personal workouts, freestyle calisthenics and conditioning reps and sets. So there's gonna be a huge chance for people to learn from me finally. For me, just focusing on getting my name out there, really just focusing on becoming better in so many aspects, and all of that was just never really got to focus on this part of it, because for me it was like always, whenever I want to do it, I want to do it like detailedly and like really take time to perfect it. So like it's gonna be amazing. I'm really hyped for it, because I know that I haven't given people the chance to really learn with me or from me by giving tutorials or more things that includes like more knowledge and details. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting.
It's cool to hear that you're gonna drop together with them the app with the freestyle calisthenics. It's good to hear.
Apart from the app, working on some more like personal projects, which is also like regarding teaching. So like there would be like people will have the chance. You guys will all have the chance to learn and use the content of the app. You will also have the chance to access my own personal guidance later on, which I'm working on mainly for the fundamentals of freestyle calisthenics, which would be fundamental static skills. And in the app specifically, there's also going to be a lot of workouts for like general conditioning, and as I told you, like sets and reps, because it's a huge part that a lot of people are missing. And it's going to be like a good chance for both people that want to learn and achieve skills, and like as well as just general physical education, you know.
That's so cool to hear. So guys, stay tuned, that will come soon. How long do you see yourself competing?
Oh shit, man, it's really hard to say. I can't really give you any specific answer, but what I can mention is I have my contract with my sponsor. We have for the next 3 years. So I think for at least the next 3 years, I'm going to be around the most important competitions.
I asked this question to Eric. He's like, bro, I don't care. If I'm 40, I can compete, I will compete.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I really don't know. It depends if I'm going to want to do it, you know. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it.
Who was your hardest battle?
Okay, in terms of opponents, I'm not really... Oh, probably Ikhwan. Yeah, in terms of opponents, was probably Ikhwan. Yeah, at FIBO.
I can't remember. Did you win or lose that one?
No, I lost that one. Yeah. In terms of like actual like how physically hard it was to make it through that competition, there's one specific competition in my mind, which is Battle of the Bars 2018, where I was facing Alexei, the guy from Russia, like one-on-one in this 9-round battle. Yeah, 9-round battle. So for those people that are not familiar with the rules of World Calisthenics Organization, their battles, it was around like 1 minute 30 or 1 minute. Like there's 1 minute for him, 1 minute for me. So like we do 3 rounds like that. Each is like 1 minute or like 1:30, and then you rest for 1 minute or 2 minutes, and like you go through these 3 rounds again, and then another like only 1 minute, 1.5 minute in between, and then like another 3. So like, yeah, you do 3 rounds, a little bit of rest, another 3 rounds, a little bit of rest, and another. So like, yeah, what I want for you to understand how hard it was, like at the very last round, which was the 9th one, the only moves I could physically do is the neck hold and the dragon flag on P bars. That was like the only things I could like physically do, and I think I did the front lever in this grip for like 2 seconds. That was it. I was done, and like later on, like I could barely talk to anybody. I was just like laying on the floor, like trying to get my energy back, trying to breathe, you know. It was...
It's like I remember the first time. I think I was watching Eric or something when they said 9 rounds. I was like, how are you doing 9 rounds? Just going. Okay, you're gonna do your best. And the craziest battle, I haven't watched that because I'm gonna react to that, is that Tony versus Eric. When Tony is doing in the last stuff, like he's doing the crazy stuff in the last rounds.
Oh yeah, he threw the 720 in the 8th round, which is one before the last one. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, like I definitely have to work on my endurance. It's totally crazy. Endurance is the problem for me, and when there's guys like that, it's just it's insane.
Yeah, but also like you are big. Okay, you were bigger back then as well, and having that mass and also throwing everything, it takes more energy than people think.
Yeah, it's definitely true, because you can use a lot of momentum, or you can use a lot of your explosive strength, which is what I do, you know. So definitely a huge difference. Almost as if a fucking bent arm and straight arm planche, you know. A huge difference.
Who would you like to battle is a big question.
Probably Thomas Kurganov from USA. Would be dope to have another battle, since I lost the previous one. Yeah, if you'd ask me like who's my favorite athlete, it would probably be him, just because of his level up, his his consistency. It's just insane. It's so motivational for me to watch. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't really agree with the judges back then when I watched that video. I don't agree that he should have won. I think you were more complete and more clean and doing like showing more variety in your sets. But I saw that he won, so I was a bit shocked because his level then and now. Okay, I understand it's a big difference.
Yeah, true. But I also have like my own opinion. But the thing is that I've learned when I've competed all around the world, it's just like, I don't go to Burning Gate and complain about why I lost to Gaji when he was only doing stuff on rings, because like it's just these different judging systems, and you just have to know the judging system. There's different rules in different countries, in different parts of the world. There's different mindset and there's different rules. Because like the sport isn't to such level, hasn't grown to such level yet where it's like strict rules, like no matter which competition it is, it's different all around the world. So like, that's what I've learned.
Yeah, I understand that. And if you don't read the rules or you forget about it and you go to a competition,
it's your fault,
Okay, so what is the best competition you have been to?
FIBO probably, I would say.
I would say the same. It's my favorite I've watched. Like how professional everything is.
Like many things, really many things, even the organization and like the care, like how they take care of you, like even the bar setup, everything. Like, yeah, really, they're doing a great job. I feel really just good, competing there.
What was your first competition?
My first one ever was a local one in 2013, at the end of 2013. Yeah, so yeah, I definitely started like by the end of 2012. Like that's when I started. So like a year later, I had my first competition, a local one, which apparently I won. Because like, this is the story behind it. When I started, I did, like, this is also what Eric touched up on his interview. You start with like conditioning, sets and reps, for me. So I did that for a year. So that allowed me to unlock such moves as front lever, V-sit even, which is also has to do a little bit of like my gymnastic background, but doing only like strength conditioning really allowed me to be just like stronger than a lot of people back then. So like I didn't have like the craziest tricks at all. I was just stronger. That like gives you kind of leverage over like other athletes, because like if it's statics versus dynamics, it's definitely statics, but that's what it was. So I just went to my first competition. I did some strength moves because it was just what I could do, and yeah,
that's cool. Like coming to your first competition and winning.
Yeah, it's also because like the sport wasn't that big, and the community wasn't that big, and like the trend was to like spin around the bars, which I didn't really follow. I was training with a bunch of like older dudes that were only into sets and reps, as you can imagine. They don't walk around with some like tricks, So yeah, that's where I come from. That's what helped me.
Yeah, like the muscle up back clap and the old school stuff, the only
Yeah,
sets
that
and
was
reps.
from dynamics. Yeah, that was the dynamics that I did.
I have my best friend Dana that competing in Sweden. He was also like in the beginning. He was from the old school, you know, only sets, reps, muscle ups. When I started training with him, every training was like, okay, let's do pull-ups. We're gonna end with pull-ups. We're gonna end with muscle-ups, push-ups, dips. Killed me, and that gave me the conditioning to learn the freestyle faster as well because I had the strength.
The key is the key, and like I can confirm that because I was judging when Dana was competing in Sweden. I was actually the judge. I can safely say that like you can even see it in his performance. You can see the strength that he has behind his like static move, you know, so different. And that's why like when he combines that with a little bit of dynamics, it was like he did like so good in comparison to like other athletes that focus on freestyle even more, you know.
Okay, before a competition, how do you prepare and schedule your training?
Like back then when I started, but when like since we just had this question about the first competition, it was 2 weeks before that competition when I already had my round planned out. I had my performance ready and I was just going through it in my backyard. This was like the set that I was like going through. I was going through the competition round 2 weeks before the competition, so that's how I got prepared. That's also one of the reasons why I was probably the #1 place because I really took the time to perfect the performance, you know. Really, yeah, it was for me, it was a big deal going to a competition. I was really like, since I told you, like it was like just like calisthenics was what I like went out and I did it every day because there was just really nothing else for me. It was just like I took it like so seriously, where for other people it might be just like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have a like competition, but for me it was just like something really important. Like I have to get ready, you know. I felt this responsibility, you know.
When looking back at the people competing, when I was the one, like I did kickboxing before, so I was all about preparing, getting ready for competitions, you know, before. But many athletes didn't even like prepare what they should do on the round. I remember talking with Dana. I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? He's like, I don't know. I will do freestyle. It's called freestyle.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. The thing is, like, yeah, I've also talked to people, let's say before some kind of a competition. Like even when it was the first world championship for me, when I went there to Moscow with one of the local athletes from Latvia. Like we got to the hotel, it was like one night before the competition. It's already pretty late, and I asked him like, "What are you gonna do?" And he's like, "Oh, I have to like mix up my music as well." You know, like everything. And like to me, it was shocking seeing other people do it overnight. Where it's just like I started doing it 2 weeks back, and the music even more. You know, I have to plan. You know, I have to like settle the music division in my head and mix it on the computer. So like, yeah, there were just like a lot of things that I did to like really get ready. Where like it was shocking for me to see that like how can you even go to a world championship like that? Where at the same time later on I was in the same position. Some of my best competitions I also haven't really prepared my rounds later on. Yeah, it's different later because that's the thing. I was like so early in the process that like I paid more attention to those details where like later on you become like.
But now you have like your sets done, you have your combos, you know what you can do and what you can't do.
Exactly. That's why I don't need to maybe do that much planning as I did before. Like sometimes you're like, okay, you think you know everything, and then you're not ready. And that's a trap for you. I've gone through that as well. So
I think also when looking at your performance, comparing to others, you can see that you're prepared, you know what you're gonna do. And others, when I see others, they're like, okay, I've done this. Where am I going to do now? Okay, I'm running there to the P bars. I haven't done anything there. And then they just throw in something. But with you, I can see you're doing it with the music, the feeling. You're bringing the feelings to the stage.
Yep, exactly. Before every performance, I know exactly what I'm going to start with and what I'm going to finish and what I'm going to do in the middle, how much I'm going to rest, like everything. Like I can't just go to a performance, have my music, and then just be like, okay, I'm going to do like whatever I'm doing. That's what you told me. Like there's different mentalities, the one that Dana has, which is like, I'm going to freestyle because there's a lot of people have this mentality before competitions. And I respect that because it's like, maybe you can do that, but I can't just go there and improvise, I'm not good at like freestyling like that, on the competition. I've always preferred to just be ready. I need to have my rounds ready. If I'm not, I get just super stressed out before the competition. Like I could forget like any single move that I can do. And if it's not ready, like it's like it's like the green light to fuck off your rounds for me. So like my rounds, they have to be planned out. Otherwise it's going to be not successful.
How much do you think the mindset matters in a competition and overall training?
I would say that a lot. I would say that a lot. Like even if you're training and like your mindset is kind of like just like somewhere else or something, just like I don't know. For example, for me, it's like my mind is like super present whenever I'm doing something, and like yeah, it's hard to say, but I think mindset is like definitely a huge role. If it wasn't for the mindset that I have, like it would like I wouldn't be doing it the way I am doing some certain things. Or
And when I talked with Viktor Kamnov about this, he said, I always imagine myself doing it before I do it, and that has made a huge difference in my training, in my competitions.
you say that when you have a vision of something, right? When you like visualize it like before you even do it. Like I have this vision, for example, when I'm listening to music, it comes to videos, like visioning about videos or combos or whatever it is. I get that feeling that I know that like I'm capable of doing it. I have this, let's say, end vision of how it's gonna look like. Then that gives me the motivation to like go to the gym and put in the hours of work. I'm gonna go to the gym like for a couple of months, having that like vision that I had in my head, and like when I realized like the potential of that vision that I have, it's just like it's gonna keep me going, and in the trainings, even if my mindset is not that present, even though like maybe I don't want to train on that day, and really like just the last thing on earth I would do at that day, I can do it because like I know exactly what I have to do. Even if I don't want to do it, I'm gonna do it because that vision that I had, it just makes me do it. It's like even though like I don't feel it today, I know that it's like gonna come back. For example, you need to have like say after 10 trainings of training for Maltese, right? Like you're gonna be a lot stronger. So like I know that like after if I put in these hours of these 10 trainings, by the end of those 10, I'm going to be able to pull off that vision of the video, of the move, of the combo that I had.
I think a lot of athletes, or the best ones in the world, have that mindset. Looking forward to something and knowing that they need to put the work, but it's going to happen. Like even if it's 20 trainings, 30, like 1 year, like they put the hours.
Like even, yeah, at that moment you're at the gym, even if you don't see it, even if you think that like this is like worthless, like this, the workout even doesn't make sense to you or whatever. It's just like, no, like I know that I don't see it right now at the gym, but like, I just know that I have to do it. Like, because I remember like at this very moment, I don't know why, but I know that before that, on my best, I realized why. So now it doesn't matter. I just have to do it, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I understand you fully. I can relate. Like some trainings you're doing, like what am I doing? It's nothing is happening. Like I don't feel it, but you just keep going, and maybe the next training.
You just have to realize that this is just like kind of like the dark spot that you're in. You have to remember, like before I had this vision and I understood why. It doesn't matter that I don't see it now. Like but in the back of my mind, like I know.
Do you see the sport grow even more than it is today?
Oh, for sure, man. Like it grows, I would say, every day. The standards that we have right now was something not possible a couple of years back. So I don't really know what to even expect, because like it's this hard position that like calisthenics and street workout, like this sport is in, that like it's transitioning from people thinking that it's like a sport that comes from the streets. It's a sport that's only like done by like dangerous people on the streets, like this ghetto vibe, and like this is what people think when they think of like street workout and calisthenics. So like it's like transitioning slowly into professional sport, where like you look up to these people as professional athletes, not as somebody really dangerous from the streets. So like, yeah, it's not at that point. It's still transitioning, it's still transitioning. So,
and I think a good, like when you start seeing companies grow, both in the calisthenic like brands, but also companies outside wanting to sponsor athletes like you or me or whatever athletes that are on social media that are doing calisthenics, then you see like, okay, the sport is growing.
A lot of this has to do with the athletes, because it wouldn't be possible without the organizations, and it wouldn't be possible without the athletes. And it tends to happen that the organizations think that this is why the sport is where it is, because we're making it happen. Like we're making you the stars that you are today. Whereas like you can't really like claim that, because like without the athletes it wouldn't also be possible. Also, the athletes always think that it's only, it's like, of course it's like all because you work for it, but like you have to respect the people that like actually made it happen for you. There wasn't those people that like, okay, like we're gonna take and we're gonna make this sport official, right? Like you might not like their rules, for example, in the competition, but they're allowing you to even do it.
I don't know if people realize how much work it takes to organize an international competition. I organized the Beast of the Bars in Sweden, and just managing, and I didn't have a budget and I didn't have like big stuff, just managing the people and making it good, the vibes, and making the athletes feel like athletes, it's take work.
Yeah, it has to be like really balanced out, because like, yeah, as I said, there's like also a lot of athletes that like they complain too much about whether it's this or that about the organization, and it's just like, yeah, you have to find a balance, you know.
When you started with calisthenics, did you start directly with freestyle or reps and sets?
Yeah, so as I said, like I definitely started out with sets and reps for a year strictly. After a year of doing sets and reps, I was like, okay, I got introduced into the freestyle moves. Like before that, I didn't even consider it as like something, you know, like it was just street workout was sets and rep. And then there was a couple of guys that were doing like some trick, not like strength wise, but like, yeah, something like some spins around the bar, or, you know, these little tricks. And like, for me, it was like, oh yeah, like that's the part that I want to learn, you know. I don't know how, because like we're just doing sets and reps, you know, and there are some guys that are doing these tricks, but it's just such a different lane. Yeah, I would just stick to sets and reps. And that was the definition of street workout for me. Yeah, as I said, like all the pull-ups, everything, that gave me the strength to do the front lever later. But of course, a little bit of more specific training later on. But the base for everything, like sets and reps, gave me that.
So guys, sets and reps if you're starting out.
Definitely. There's just like, I don't even want to say you can't go wrong with that, but it's the only way to do it right.
I couldn't agree more. Like, I really agree. Okay, during all these years, how do you still keep the motivation and drive to keep going, keep training, keep competing?
Apparently, somehow I managed to do it. I don't know. It's not that like I'm always motivated or I'm always driven. I'm actually, most of the time, I'm not actually lately, since I'm doing it for so long. And it definitely feels like a job at some point. You have to do it, but it's not. It came from like something that you want to do to something that you don't want to do, but you have to do, you know. And that's like, as I said, it's like you have to balance it out when it comes to that, you know, really. Like I'm just so committed to this that like there really isn't anything else for me. So like, I'm not even like thinking about doing anything else, because there's nothing else for me apart from what I built. This is the only thing I can really stick to. There's the only thing I can do. Like if you take this away, like I can't imagine my life without this. You know, I have no other options to just do something else, like make my living in another way. So like I'm really not looking any other ways. Just like I'm not thinking, what would I do if I wouldn't be doing this? Like, even on the hardest days, I'm just trying to figure out the next move that I could do. Because even if I go and, let's say I need some money, right, I would go and work for, you know, some time or whatever. Even that would feel like a waste of time, because even if I spend a day, like, doing something which is not building like my career, you know, like, that's a waste of time for me, you know, like, I can't even think the other way. Yeah, maybe just because since when I started, like, this is the only thing that was here for me, it's probably that's it, you know. Because yeah, as I said, for others it's like street workout is just like something for them, or it's just like something, like it's a part of their lives. For me, it's like the only thing, you know. Yeah, it's hard for me to consider going, like, having a job or switching up my lifestyle or anything, because that's the only thing I know. Not specifically street workout and training, but like all of these things, you know, like what I do.
Yeah, and I can just imagine, like, I understand you, and having no plan B, it's a good thing in my opinion, because you focus all your energy towards one thing and getting good at that and getting better. Have you ever been depressed or unmotivated?
Yeah, definitely. I think that a lot of people, like, as I said, it has to keep up with some kind of image that they have built. It's definitely a part of the process, you know. Yeah, it depends. There's a lot of people that really fall off, you know. Also, Eric touched up on this. Like, there was a nice interview you guys did. It was interesting for me to watch. So yeah, it's definitely true. There's a lot of people that start off and then they fall off for some time, you know. So like, the same thing I could count right now on my fingers, like how many people are really consistent there, how many people have been there since the old school times and still are there nowadays, you know, like old school, new school.
What do you think is the reason to that you get unmotivated?
Because you might have started to, it was something that you wanted to do, like later on like you lose the passion for it, but to be able to pull it off the way you did before, you can't do it without the passion. And if you have to wake up in the morning and be that character and not even be yourself, you know, it's really hard to like do that, you know. Sometimes, like, yeah, it's hard to it's hard to explain, but it's really that. Keeping up with this character and image is definitely not easy if you lose the passion or if you lose the motivation, because that moment is eventually going to come. You can't escape that, like if you're going to be consistent for so many years in something, like there's no way that like you're not going to experience some of that.
I can relate to that. I think it's the image that we're trying to build up for others, and then we're trying to look inside. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking inside, like, okay, what do I really want to do? What is me? Who am I?
So for you and also for people watching, not to get me wrong, like it's never like you don't have to, like you have to, but you don't have to keep up with that image, like my personal life, it's a lot more important to me, so like as everything else that I said must be balanced out, this is just another thing, because if you're gonna too much just focus on of the character, and of the image is gonna just like you're gonna like it's the green light to depression as well. So like you really have to it's a process of learning, definitely.
And I think everybody's going through that, finding balance, we are all living one life. We don't know the rules. We don't know how everything is going to be. We are learning.
I just think that people fall off when they face these natural things,
Many have seen your progress and think that you progress really fast. What do you think is the reason behind that?
Well, it's actually it's hard for people to judge or really comment about how fast I'm progressing, because they have this image of myself in their head of what I post online, that's the level that they know that I have. They don't understand that it's not what they see, always. So for example, my level can be higher or my level can be even lower, so it just depends on what I put out. So let's say I put out a shit video, or I put out the best that I possibly can, that's going to be what's in their head, so when I'm training, when I'm really motivated to, for example, let's say unlock a new trick or whatever the move or it is, I'm gonna work for it so consistently so that I get it, and then I'm just gonna kind of more lay low, just perfect the overall level. So it's just whenever I want to get something or improve something specifically, I just do it immediately, and I do it very consistently. Yeah, that plus another thing, which is my strength. Okay, now I'm at the peak level of my strength, I would say. But before, even 2016, some strength moves was even stronger than now. Because I've been doing it for so long, it's back and forth, For me, it's really easy to progress faster when I've already been better in that category. When I was already able to full Maltese press or whatever, when I was training the one-arm planche before, I was so close to it. I was holding the one-arm handstand flag for years. That's why, from zero to getting something new, it takes a long time. But for me, it's kind of back and forth.
Yeah, and people don't see the between the videos, what is happening, how much work it's put in. And I think people, like you said, they put an image from from one video to the other. Damn, it's so fast. And then they don't see the hours between that.
Yeah, and even if you look at the bigger picture, as I said, you might notice that I was stronger in some specific points in even 2016, as I said, or 2017, So if I just didn't work on that and now I started to work on it again, you can achieve it much faster.
The next question, do you like to train in a group or alone?
Yeah, it used to be alone probably, but now in a group, definitely. I feel the energy is just better. Seems to work better because if I would be by myself, without headphones and without a speaker, it would be super hard for me to train because you're just left there alone, with your thoughts, personal things, But for me, when I go to trainings, I want to isolate from what I have. I'm looking to go there because I have all this positivity from all these people.
I understand you. For me, going to training is like therapy. I go there, it's another world. All the business stuff, all the personal life, it's just away for a bit. I take a break, I train, I have the vibes and recharge. Now, what is your top 3 tips for beginners who are starting calisthenics?
So yeah, that would be probably very general. Number 1, as we discussed, it would be you would never start with skills. You would start with getting your physical strength, overall physical strength, complete body, whole body strength ready. Number 2 would be probably if you're a total beginner, you need to accept that and understand that you don't know a lot, and it's hard to understand which way to go, which is the person you should trust. Like, internet is full of bullshit as well. It's full of useful stuff and it's full of garbage. Like, it's good that there's somebody that you can trust with your trainings. You don't want to take any risks on your own, you know, you want to stay out from injury and stuff like that. And if you're not taking these safety precautions, you just try whatever you want to take unnecessary risk, you know, which is not calculated, go wrong. So the risk I'm talking about is even about sets and reps. You can do something wrong, you can pull your muscles without the proper warm-up or something. So when you're a beginner, it's important. Yeah, just don't try to do like stuff on your own out of your risk or curiosity. It's good, but it's also like it can get you injured or some stuff like that. Yeah, number 3 would be not to think about the end goal that much. That's what it happened for me. Just, you have to like it. You don't have to think about it. You just have to rather stay focused on like, okay, what I can do in this training, not like the bigger picture, you know. And if you can kill every training, like on the bigger picture, it's going to be, you know, huge.
Great advice. Did you have any coach when you started?
Yeah, so it was basically just us helping each other, since there was like older people, like 20 plus mostly, and like I was like 13 back then. Yeah, like not even like 20, maybe like even 16 or 20, you know, and like those people were older and they were doing these sets and reps. So they were like, they always helped you with the form, because like these people, you know, they're not into like any flashy tricks or something, you know, they want to get the physical preparation. So when it comes to like sets and reps, they always like help you out. Like we were always helping each other. Oh yeah, when it comes to tricks, it's whether YouTube or just the same people, you have to just break it down like as much as you can and just play around with it.
I can imagine learning freestyle back then. There were nobody posting freestyle tutorials. You just saw somebody do something and you're like, okay, how do I start?
Yeah, like people might not realize it. Like, how did these people that message me about planche, right? Do these people even think like how I got to do it? Because back like 7 years ago or something, like trust me, there were so much less available than it is right now. You know, it's crazy. It's always there. You know, it's always out for you, even if you don't have a coach. You know.
What do you wish you changed when you started calisthenics, or is it something you wanted to change when you started?
Shit, I would probably say no. Like, yeah, like I just believe that every single thing I did has affected me today. So like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think about the things like I could have done different, you know. Like, I think it's stupid in my opinion. It's just like, it doesn't matter, you know. So like, probably no.
Some athletes say that freestyle is easy. What is your opinion on that? Do you think that as well?
Okay, in my opinion, let's define it. In my opinion, freestyle is statics plus dynamics. Freestyle is not 360s, 540s, gangers, shrimp flips, and jumping or anything. Freestyle is the overall performance, you know. Freestyle is not sets and reps. Freestyle is the moves. First, let's get this straight. Now, second of all, it usually comes from the athletes that are only doing static skills. So let's face it, you are in the competition, and if you have to combine dynamics with statics, if you haven't done that, you can't even talk about it. It's so much different. It's like a new world, you know, when you have to think about your endurance, the risk, you have to calculate the risk of doing these dynamic moves after, let's say, static moves, or if you have to think about the risk of not landing those moves, you know, if it's a performance, it's a 2-minute performance, you know, it's really disrespectful in my opinion for somebody to say that, because yeah, there's a lot of things they might not realize, which is why is it so hard to put these things together? Because the endurance and the focus level and the risk does it take to nail a complete performance with both highest level statics and dynamics, it's insane. People don't realize that, and for somebody to say that, it's no, it's definitely not true, and I don't agree with you, you know. And they have to understand this, you know.
I agree with you. Too many people are comparing like swing 360, we could talk about dynamics and statics, swing 360 with Maltese. You can't compare those. It's not this like, it's not the same level.
It's definitely easy. Like, I learned swing 360 in 3 days, shrimp flip 1 day. I went to the gym, I just focused on one move, and I catch the shrimp flip in the same day I tried it. So of course, Maltese took me 1 year to go from 1 second straddle to 3 second full planche. It took me 1 year. So of course you can put it in contrast, but like there's also like this part that I explained before. Maltese is also like one of the top level skills. 360 is a beginner skill. So like imagine being able to do a perfect Maltese hold for the necessary seconds and then straight going into a giant into a giant 540. It's a new, like, it's just
Like I would compare like Maltese with maybe 900. That's closer to comparing, if we can compare it.
yeah. So yeah, definitely. If you just look like in a very stupid way, but if you look at it like statics and dynamics, it's always going to be statics. But yeah.
So for those who saying freestyle is easy, freestyle is everything.
Like if somebody says that, it's a sign that these people, like, they, first of all, they don't have enough knowledge on that, and they don't have enough experience, you know, because if somebody claims that, they obviously don't have enough experience to understand what they're talking about.
Most people actually that say that, I see that they have tried freestyle like dynamics combining, but they are not good at it. They see that they struggle, so they focus on statics, and then they trying to put down the dynamics part.
Just like, why are you saying that something is easy when it was the problem for you? You know, it's just so stupid.
Okay, so what was the first dynamic skill and static skill you mastered?
First dynamic skill would be probably muscle up 360, maybe like back clap, and statics would be back lever. I would say back lever, front lever. That was like what I like, because like back then it was planche was just like it was the top. It was like only people in Russia were able to do that. You know, it was not a regular thing to do. You know, definitely I'd say the bigger ones is like front lever, back lever, something like that. Muscle up was like a huge thing for me. Like muscle up was my biggest goals at the end, like at the start, you know. Muscle up was my biggest motivation. Like if I can do a muscle up, that's fucking sick, you know.
I can relate to that. What is your best tip to get over the fear of dynamics?
Simply breaking it down into baby steps, so-called baby steps. Like there's a movement that you want to do, you just break it down into several points as detailed as you can, and just try to become comfortable with the movement. You know, you just play around with it. For example, you just try to touch the first 5%, like something into that direction, so your body gets used to it, and then you just climb the ladder, you know. And eventually, like when your body gonna get used to it, you're gonna end up throwing that move, because you can't go, like, let's say you want to learn a ganger flip, right? You can't go for the ganger like for the first tries. You can't be expecting to try the ganger. Like first you need to be comfortable with the flip, you know, then twist a little bit your body, and then like you just need to break it down into like these phases, and then just get comfortable with each of them. That's it.
Really good tip. That's exactly how I'm thinking about the dynamics and the fear. People are going to, like, they are going full send on the first session instead of breaking it down. Have you got any injuries?
Luckily not that much in the sport. It was always a funny thing for me. It was like I was around so many people getting injured, and like it was always, when somebody claims they're injured, you know, you can't claim that it's an excuse for them, you know, because like you never really know. But I feel like it's a massively overused excuse for people, and I feel that like why is it so, like, how is it possible when I'm like, okay, it has something to do with my age, because like when you're younger it's a bit harder to get injured, I would say. Like your lifestyle doesn't really bother that much. But yeah, I would say like how has it happened that like, dude, like I'm one of the less injured athletes in the game, I would say, because like really I only had one injury on my wrist, which was luckily my left wrist. I had pain for like 3 months where I did a normal handstand, it would hurt. But at that time I was already mastered. I had already mastered my handstand. So I did one arms and stuff. So like everything I did was on the right arm, and I just used the fingertips. So it didn't really stop me much from anything, but that was like one of the injuries, the main ones. And then I had one right here from Pesto, I think, or Maltese in like 2016. I had massive pain for 3 days, and then after 3 days it started to go away very fast. So apart from that, nothing very serious, and I'm not also the person to spend the most time on warm-up, you know. I usually do just a general simple warm-up, which is like enough for me. So yeah, it's just, I'm gonna just let it be, you know. Like I don't want to get into people's, like, you know, lives, but yeah, it's weird to me, you know. It's weird to me.
Okay, if you had to choose only to do statics or only dynamics, what would you choose?
Oh man, shit, I'm dynamics, bro, probably.
Why?
Because it's just like I would get bored with statics, you know. This is like, I prefer dynamics over statics, like I really do. It's a lot more fun for me. It's a lot more extreme, which is why I like it, you know. being able to pull off a 720 or 900 or the giant, rotation. It's insane in my opinion. It's like I prefer that over holding a full planche, like not in like it's like not really. I prefer that over a full planche, it's very different. You can't compare that. But like if I just had to go like and I wasn't allowed to do statics or dynamics, like I would do dynamics because like I would get bored.
Yeah, the feeling of creativity, like you can be creative in statics, of course, but flying, I can. That's what I love with dynamics, the flying, being in the dangerous zone.
Yeah, and like who knows, like anybody can come up with something new any day. With statics, it's not that much. It's of course it's insane seeing how far you can go, with the strength level, like holding two finger Maltesers or whatever.
Did you start taking supplements when you started your calisthenic journey?
Oh no, man, definitely no. Not any supplements. The only supplement I take is pre-workout, which is very occasionally, I would say, even so.
How are your workouts today? Only dynamic sesh or mix it up, or how do you schedule your training?
So the perfect training for me nowadays is I start off with dynamics, not even with dynamics, with freestyle, with the complete combos. I work on that because that's what takes the most energy of myself and the most power. Because after a couple of combos, it's just hard for me to throw these skills because the energy is not there. So yeah, this is what I work on because yeah, it's the main thing that I have to focus on since I'm in the competition part of calisthenics. And after that, I focus more specifically on statics. And then after that, you finish it with a specific sets and reps workout, which is usually like an endurance workout because this is the way I like to work out, taking almost no rest and building that endurance because that is important, in my opinion, if you're competing. Something like that, yeah, that's the perfect. It's definitely doesn't always go like that because it depends on how you feel and everything.
Now, what is your hardest static skill you can do today?
Probably one-arm planche. I'm still perfecting it. I'm still working on it, but yeah, just it was hard transitioning from the one-arm handstand flag where your body is like vertical and then you have to get like your body more horizontal and like that switch was very, very hard. But yeah, probably one-arm planche. Also Maltese was always a hard thing for me to do. So yeah, it's not like Maltese is like the hardest on the bigger picture, but just for me personally, I always had this fight with the Maltese, which is also because of my height and my weight, so.
What is the hardest dynamic skill you can do today?
Dynamic, I mean, I can't really maybe do it at the moment, but like there's a couple of moves that I've managed to unlock and then I've lost them. So I've done the 540 muscle up, the giant 540, and these two are like the hardest that I've done. And these are also one of my favorites because I prefer these over any like 720 or 900 because it's so different. You have to rotate and mix that with jumping over the bar. So like, yeah, these are absolutely my favorite and I can't wait to really start grinding for them again. I really should, man.
I think one of your coolest I've seen is the video. I don't know where you are, but when you do a giant to ice ball and re-grab.
Oh yeah, into the front flip re-grab. Yeah, it's definitely. Oh yeah, actually, I don't know how, but it just completely out of my head. Yeah, definitely. This is something that has been the trickiest, the sketchiest, the hardest ones, and like really, it's annoying. It's really annoying. Like I don't feel like I don't enjoy doing this move at all. Like at all, it'd be probably the least favorite.
What is your favorite skill and why? Not like hardest, but your favorite overall.
Shit, it's hard to say. Maybe like in terms of dynamics, Ganger is one of my favorites because like it's one of those simple ones because like just the feeling and like the flip and then just re-grab. It's out of dynamics of the simple move. That's definitely my favorite. And then statics would be probably one-arm front lever. Like out of the moves that I can do, yeah, it's definitely like a signature thing for me. So yeah, it's probably one-arm front lever. But if you look at just like not from my perspective, but in general, like in my opinion, like one of my favorite tricks is Maltese. Just being able to hold yourself so close to the ground, but it's just insane. Like being able to do this stuff with your body. At the end of the day, if you're not looking like you're just like looking not like a professional athlete, but like a normal person. Outside of the fitness world. Just yeah, the mechanics of Maltese. It's amazing.
So what is your record when holding planche? What is your record in planche hold?
Uh, 2 years ago, or maybe more, it was around 20 seconds. So yeah, definitely it's more now. It might be somewhere between 25 or 30 even, maybe less. So, but definitely 20. Yeah. I haven't done it for max, and maximum holds is it's not something that I focus on, you know. I rather be able to do more sort of moves than just be specifically strong in one.
Who is your inspiration today? You don't need to mention one, you can mention a couple if you want.
It would be probably the athletes that also have some sort of stronger or more one-of-a-kind character, you know. So let's say there's not a lot of people that inspire me in this sport, to be honest, you know, because like I always get my inspiration from like from different sources, you know, other people. It's like you get different bits of everything and stuff. But yeah, like strictly as to the sport, it's kind of hard, man. There's not a lot of like people that look up to get inspired, you know, like unfortunately, but definitely Vitaly is one of my inspirations. Also Dan Rosenberg, just their specific style, you know, and then everyone who is really consistent, that is still going, like still doing it until this day, you know, like those people I'm gonna always look up to, you know. They're always gonna inspire me because like they have their name, you know. They're the one and only, you know, and there's not a lot of people like that. So yeah, but yeah, in general, it's hard with like street workout. It's just like, yeah, it's always outside of the sport. Often music.
What type of music are you listening to when working out?
Before it used to be like I had to have like a very specific song, you know. Before it used to be a lot of trap music, a lot of even dubstep, but like trap music was the biggest thing like back in the day, a couple of years back. Now then it transitioned into like metal, so like death metal, even it's like some hardcore rock or metal, that plus trap music, that was like these two.
I think you and Melnick brought that music more into the sport, like the metal stuff, because I remember the trap was a big thing. I love trap still, but when you guys started to post the music with the metal, I think that's when it started to, like, people realize, oh, you can do stuff with this music, you can have the feeling.
Yeah, and for me it was always that, like, I know this is maybe not the best song for like random people to hear, but for me it was just like I didn't really care about that. Just felt like it matches the image, you know, and stuff. So yeah, like metal music, heavy music was like, still until this day, it's like if I play some of those songs, Jesus, it's like like it's just so many memories that comes with that. You want to go train statics like at this very moment, you know. Trap, then it's more like fucking freestyle or whatever, you know. Nowadays it's like it's in general like it's more rap, you know, hip hop and stuff like that. So yeah, like there's definitely like I have like a couple favorite artists that are more like underground, like rap, hip hop in general. So yeah,
it switches by time as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. It switches, it changes with the trends of the music in the world as well. It's like,
who is the top 3 complete athletes in your opinion?
shit, let me start off with Eric, I would say. Actually, shit, it's very hard because I'm not like, there's a lot of, for example, like my friends, you know, like Paul Zima, right? They know a lot more athletes than I do. You know, I've touched on this before when I said there's not a lot of people that inspire me in this sport because I'm not even aware of a lot of athletes that are actually there, you know. So for me, the answer would be probably the athletes would be the ones that are already at the top, you know, that comes to my mind is Eric, Roger, you know, Thomas. These people, they're still going, you know, they're complete. And it's like, they're never going to change it. Also, Ikhwan as well. Ikhwan is crazy. Like, there's not a lot of complete athletes the way like Ikhwan, Eric, Roger is. So
I admire Ikhwan because where he started his journey on like the bar, the setup is just insane.
So yeah, there's the story that comes along with every athlete. So yeah,
and that's why I'm trying to bring with the interviews, because many people put their own story on every athlete instead of listening or asking what is the story. So that's why I do these interviews, to like bring up the real story about each athlete in their own words. So we have the last question. And the last question is your favorite quote.
Oh, quotes. Oh, there's a lot. There's a couple ones that like coming at my head right now. Maybe might not be my favorite ones, but the one that is definitely I'm gonna remember always is that you never really know the true moment, the true value of a moment until it becomes a memory, right? So it's just like you never. It's like that moment happens, and then like some time passes, and that was like that was the time of your life. You know, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. You know, in that moment it might seem, but there's just like it's regular. You take it for granted, you know, and then later on, it's like, okay, you realize, you know, yeah, it's probably not my favorite, but it's just because of how true it is, how many times I've faced the truth of that one. It's crazy.
This interview has all my interviews are long. I already expect that they are long, but I think we have brought so much value to those who are watching as well, and bringing your story from your own words. I know it's hard to do this by yourself, so that's why I like I said, I try to do this and also make the best possible. Like we're doing this over the internet and not meeting each other. I'm humble and grateful for you to be here in this interview. It means a lot that you took your time, valuable to have 2 hours, and do this.
Sure, man. Yeah, it was definitely, it was dope. Like, yeah, there's I haven't also give a lot of details of the story. So yeah, I just from the bottom of my heart, I just think that I just hope that we can inspire people with this interview, you know, because yeah, even the comments on other interviews, it's like, you know, during these interviews, you get to see any interview that you've done. It's like, whoa, I didn't expect this person to be like that, you know? So yeah, I think that's the key here. And that's what we nailed it, I think. Yeah. So I hope you enjoy it, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, guys. And I already know that most of you guys are following Daniels on his social media. If you don't, you're living under a stone or something. I don't know. But go, I will link everything down below in the description. And hopefully we'll meet again. Like we met in Sweden last year in the competition I held. And hopefully when this all the pandemic and everything will go away, we can meet each other again.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, definitely. Because I'm looking forward to the Game of Bars event. That didn't happen yet, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Because it hasn't happened before.
That concept is from you. Like that's why I wanted to do it, and because I saw the joy during the videos. I think that can be something people want to watch as well.
Yeah, and when somebody just really is ready to take it and make it something, you know, real.
Yeah.
That's really interesting to me. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a blast. So yeah.
Yeah, for next year for sure. And we are ending this interview. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, man. Thank you, and thank everybody that's watching. Peace.
Wow, amazing story from the legend himself, Daniels Laizans, or as I call him, the Calisthenics Rockstar. If you have watched this far, make sure to hit that like button and also share this video with others so this video can reach even more people, so more people can get to know more about Daniels Laizans. And also, before you leave, subscribe if you want to see more interviews in the future, and I will see you in the next video.